Hey guys, welcome back. I wanted to talk in this video to you guys about the pressure to perform socially, in social settings. I recently was hanging out with some friends, and I, at times, how do I word this? At times feel this pressure to perform, which, it's a source of anxiety. And I'd ask myself, Jake, why do you feel this pressure, to perform, to say the right things, do the right things, to be the funniest person in the friend group, or to tell the best stories, or be the best listener, and so on and so forth. And along with asking myself that, I realized that maybe not everyone experiences this to this level, but at the same time, I think certainly some people experience it even more than I do. I was asking myself, why do I feel this? What's the source coming from? The source is myself. So if you're someone who deals with this pressure, and you think, as I used to, that everyone else is looking at you, even if they're good friends, we are irrational parts of our minds, which sometimes feels like a great portion kicks in and fills our head with these thoughts. The irrational part of our mind can kick in and tell us those kinds of things. Everyone's looking at you. Everyone is conspiring against you. Everyone's thinking you haven't told a joke in a while, or this story is really boring. Everyone's losing interest. No one wants to hang out with you. These kinds of things. I realized that the source of specifically this pressure to perform is from myself. It happens when I'm in my head. And the reality is, and it's hard to learn. But just as is the reality that no one in life really cares about you, and that can be depressing, just like when I talk about in my Succeeding with Stoicism series, which is going to be in this corner, maybe this corner, I think it's this one. Likewise, when I'm talking about memento mori, the practice of meditating on one's death, or I talk about what's the other one? Premeditatio malorum, negative visualization. In both of those, like with memento mori, you're meditating on your death, on the facts, one, or A, that you're going to die someday, and B, that you have no idea when it's going to happen. It could happen tonight while you're sleeping, or it could happen next week, or next month, or 50 years from now. Or with premeditatio malorum, this practice of negative visualization, where you are, how would you say, you're preparing yourself emotionally for bad things that may happen in the future by going ahead and, if you want to say, pre-experiencing them or pre-living them in your mind. And it's a twofold purpose: to remind yourself that bad things can go wrong, and also to toughen yourself up, to callous your mind. Those kinds of practices, as I've said in both videos, I believe, when taken to the extreme, can, I think, depress you. Memento mori especially is a morbid practice. Taken too far, you start obsessing about it. The fact that you're going to die, about your mortality, or the fact that you have no idea when it's going to happen, can be a great source of anxiety or depression, or both. But I think along with those two practices, this realization that a pressure to perform comes from within. And as I was saying, right alongside this, the realization that no one in life really cares about you, that even people very close to you in your life, people who love you, family, very close friends, people who know you very well and would do anything for you, ultimately don't care about you too much in life. It's not to say that these people don't care about us at all, that they don't like us, they couldn't care less what happens to us. It's more so that everyone else in life has a lot going on in their lives. And the fact of the matter is that unless you are in someone's very close social circle, unless you are part of their family or you're one of their very close friends, you are a background character in that person's life. And that's the truth. Because we all have a lot of things going on. Think of how many people I pass by on the street on a weekly basis, and I never have any idea what's going on in the minute details and the great complexities of their life and everything in between. To me, that person is nothing more than just a passerby. They are a background character or an extra in the story of my life. And I am that to them because I'm not in any of their circles of life. You got your family circle and your friend circle and your acquaintanceship circle. I'm not even in that circle. That is liberating, I believe, when you realize that no one really cares about you. And to take one subset of that, we oftentimes feel like the spotlight is on us, like with this pressure to perform, where our mind tells us things like everyone's looking at you, everyone is judging you, you gotta say the right thing, you gotta wear the right clothes, make sure you fit the part so everyone accepts you. Reality is that everyone else around you is also having the same thoughts. There's one thing we share is this collective irrational mind, if you want to call it. So they're all also being inundated with these thoughts. Now, you don't have to be inundated. Once you realize them, you realize a source, which is yourself, your mind, you can start to control them. You can calm yourself, calm this rushing river of anxious thoughts and irrational thoughts. But everyone else around you is also dealing with it too. So the truth is that no one else around you really cares about you too much because they're all worrying about themselves. I remember it's a quote that springs to mind. It's by Marcus Aurelius. I'm going to paraphrase it. It goes something like, look within and you will see the judges whom judge them so judiciously. Something like that. I'm paraphrasing. Point he's making, as I just did, is if you were really to look within the minds of these people whom you are so afraid of, whom you want acceptance or validation from, whom you want to look good in the eyes of, you'd see that these people are judging themselves just as harshly, just as judiciously as you're judging yourself, which means that they don't actually care about you that much because they're worrying about themselves. Just as much as you're worrying about what everyone thinks about you, and just as much as you think the spotlight is on yourself, they're thinking the exact same thing. And if that's the case, it means they're not putting much attention onto you, what you're doing. And if they do, then I believe the truth is, say you embarrass yourself greatly when you're out with friends or even by yourself. You embarrass yourself in front of a group of people. They laugh at you. Maybe they go home and talk about you. And if you really stretch this out to what's realistically the worst case scenario is maybe they talk about you the rest of the day and then you're forgotten. Really. Because they have other things going on in their life. Something else happens that's embarrassing. They experience another embarrassing thing, or they're the subject of embarrassment the next day. Or a million other possible things happens in their life, and poof, you're gone. That's the truth, as I see it. So realizing that you're really essentially a background character, like an extra character, an extra in most people's lives, I believe is very liberating. That can feel lonely. You could say don't dwell on it too much. I think it's very liberating because then there's not a pressure to care what people think about you. And of course that pressure comes from within. So when we go back to one subset of this, which is a pressure to perform, when you realize that this is actually just happening in here, that you're the source of this pressure to perform, you realize that actually it's okay if I just relax. I just chill around my friends I don't always have to be talking. I don't always have to be the one. I don't have to be the funniest person. I don't have to have the best jokes. I don't have to have the best stories. I don't have to always have a solution to a problem. I don't always have to have an opinion on everything. Very important. I don't always have to have an opinion. Sometimes I can reel back. Excuse me. Sometimes I can just agree with people, or at the very least just nod my head and be like, you know what, I don't feel like getting into it. I don't have to. I don't always have to tell people about things I disagree with them. Sometimes I can just be like, all right, that's your opinion. That's very freeing. Carrying this weight on your shoulders. When you drop it, you realize that you're the one that put it on there on the first place. You realize no one's expecting me to do these things. Especially if it's good, if they are your good friends, if they are good people and they are as good of friends as you think they are, then they won't. They don't actually believe that. They shouldn't. That's kind of by part of that definition of being a good friend. Nestled in there is that they're not expecting too much of you. They're not expecting unrealistic standards like that. They're not setting unrealistic standards like that upon you. Good friends wouldn't do that, right? So it's a very liberating feeling. Both when you realize that no one in life really cares about you too much, and also, and as a subset of that, you realize that this pressure to perform socially is created by you, no one else. And you don't have to. Don't have to be the funniest. Don't have to be the smartest. Don't have to have the best stories. You don't have to have an opinion on everything or agree or disagree with everything that you hear that you may agree with or disagree with. Sometimes you can just relax. Sometimes it's okay to not talk. Sometimes it's okay to just listen and learn and relax. You realize that you don't always have to be the center of attention. Sometimes the best thing to do is to not. Just step out of the spotlight and just be there for others. Be this calm, content presence, knowing that that's okay. I don't have to be in the spotlight. I don't have to do that. I can chill. I can relax and be myself and be fine with being myself. Be confident and comfortable in my own skin, just hanging out, sitting on a couch with your friends, and just taking up some space and relaxing and not having to perform every moment. That's been something that's been on my mind recently, because it's something I've noticed within myself and I've been getting better at. And I wanted to pass it along with you guys. Maybe you felt it before. If you have, or something similar, drop it in the comments, let me know. And along with that, let me know what you guys want me to talk about next. Leave that in the comments as well. And make sure to subscribe for more content like this in the future. And make sure to check out my current Succeeding with Stoicism series, which I mentioned earlier. I can put that in one of the corners. So make sure to check out that series along with everything else going on the channel, and subscribe for this content, and I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.